This summer, we've been making all sorts of craft. Today, we're gonna make this daisy. It's made from toilet paper tubes. Isn't that great? Empty ones, of course. Don't forget that you can go and download all the instructions. Just go to the Macintosh website, click on Activity 4.3, and you'll find what you need. You have to get, there's a few clicks before you get there, but you'll follow the directions and you can see it. Macintosh Memorial Library and Vernon Communication, we're like surface tension. We hold hands and we work together to keep us together. And that's what we're all doing right now, working together. So, today we're doing our craft of a daisy, or whatever flower you want to call it. So, let's check our supplies. It says 2 empty toilet paper tubes. And what I found after I made the first one, it's better if the inside one's a little short. So I already cut one of mine shorter. And then you either need paint or colored paper. And I don't have paint, so I'm gonna go with colored paper. If you want, if you can't remember, you can put a rubber band around here. And what that does is help you so you don't cut too far. And a piece of tissue paper, some glue, and that can either be a glue stick, hot glue gun, and then some scissors. So let's get started making our thing. Let's move it all up here to our workspace. So I decided that I'm going to make the outside of my daisy yellow this time and the inside purple. So I'm going to measure how deep, just by lining up the toilet paper tube on here. I can make a mark, then I can move down a little ways and make another mark, and then I can go across the edge of the paper, getting my edges lined up. Then I can come over here. My paper cutter might need a little oil. And line up my edges, the lines I made, and now I have the right width. But I think it was this half. Yep. Then I'm going to get it cut to the right. Make another line. See how I rolled that up? So then I know how much I need. So I need to make one more cut. And now to get it started, I'm going to put a nice layer of glue there. And I'm going to attach my yellow. And I'm just going to wait just a little bit to get that nice and dry. Then I'm going to periodically add some more glue and roll and try to keep rolling nice and straight. So you want your edge to be right up there flush with the edge. Another row. And later when we make the petals, you might have to add some more glue in there because sometimes it's a little tricky getting it all on there. And you can always trim a little bit too. So now I'm just doing some right here at the edge so that they'll line up. And then I'm going to trim a little bit because I don't want that extra because it's just too thick to cut through. Okay, so now I have the outside. This one doesn't need any on the outside because it's going to go inside here, all right? So I have to cut this one open and make it a little tighter so it'll go in there. So you can see how much overlapped. And that overlap is okay. I would do that. I want to trim it. So now what we need to do well, we need to figure out the length again. paper is a little tricky to see pencil mark. Now this is, because it's curly, this is a little trickier to do, honestly. So again, we're going to start at our edge. Get our paper on there. And then we can just trim it. You know, I decided I am going to cover this outside as well. I think it'll just make it look a little more finished. And I had a piece of yellow, so. Just that it gets quite thick. So I'm curling it so it'll go inside there a little easier. So now we have to do this one. Just trying to kind of hold this up so I can get it inside that tube before it unrolls. And it just kind of gives me an idea of where I need to cut this. I'm just going to give myself a little extra. So now this is a tricky one to get glued in, and I'm probably going to just use my glue stick. And you need to use a lot. Now here's the tricky part. You got to get it in there. And you want to make sure you're pressing all around it, so because you want this purple to be stuck to the tube on the inside. And don't worry about if it gets a little uneven, because you can just trim that and that won't show. See, now that's my nice flat. That's the part I'll have. This will be the back. Now the next part, this has got to go inside there. So you can see this gets pretty thick, doesn't it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pencil, and what I'm going to do now is take and figure out how many petals I'm going to do. And I'm just going to draw them real light. They don't have to be even, but you don't want to end up with one really fat one and like a really, really skinny one. So I just kind of map it out a little ahead of time, just to ensure I'm going to be kind of even. I'm not going to measure it, I'm just going to eyeball it. And just kind of make them the same size. And then I'll do the same to that one before I put it in. And it's a nice idea to wherever your seam is to make that one of the cuts, because it kind of makes the seam go away. Now remember, you're not cutting all the way through. That's why if you have a rubber band or make a really light little line all the way around, you gotta stop there, because you don't want to cut all the way through. And if you don't have strong enough hands, it's okay to ask for help here, because my hands are working pretty good here. See? And this is how we're making the petals. So it's kind of fun. It looks like it's going to be a yellow flower, but in the end, it's purple. And you can see that it's tricky making it adhere to it, so oftentimes you have to re-glue those. Okay, so after you finish your outside one, then you're going to do the same thing to the inside one. Remember, make some little marks. Almost done here. And then, I'm going to curl this baby up. My glue cap fell out. And put lots of glue on this. And again, you want to press them down. And I like to spin it a little bit so that they're kind of offset, so that between the outside ones, the inside ones will go. See? And then you can go around and glue all this stuff back on where it needs to go. But that's a good job at the end, because you're going to be moving and twisting these things, and it'll be a good idea to do that at the end. You can just kind of repair it all. So now we're going to make a stem. This green part. I just took a piece of cardboard box, and I'm not going to wrap it around because this paper is quite thick. So I'm just going to cut some strips. And I see my paper is 8.5, and if I want it to be about 1.5 inches, that may mean I have to move this over so my paper's lined up. I moved it over 1.5 inches. Yeah, see? And if you want a skinnier one, that's okay. I'll just flip it over and go to this end. And you can see that that's much thinner. And then I'm just going to make another one like that. And I'm going to glue up my stick. And I'm going to line up one side. See? So now you can't see it. And I'm going to do the same on the back side. I guess I'll use some hot glue now. So see, That's my stem. And then I can trim it. That way you don't have to, make sure that it's exactly the right fit. See? And now I want to take something round and I'm going to make a piece that will cover this. And since it has to go over this is the right size, I'm just going to trace around my tube because that's exactly the size I need. Then I'm going to cut out that circle. And it's actually okay if it's a little too big. It gives it a little more to hook onto. So now there's lots here. I'm going to put a lot of glue here because it's kind of a skinny space. And so if it has quite a bit of glue, it will help it. There, so now your flower is closed. That's the back side. Then the last thing you have to do is hook on your stem. And again, this needs some glue. And there's your daisy. Now, you have one thing left. And I'm going to use tissue paper, but you can put whatever you want there. You could even cut out a circle and just put there. And that might even be good because it might really hold your petals open. So I have some pink tissue paper. And it really doesn't take much. This piece obviously is way too big. Maybe this will be better. I'm kind of just making it into a little flat ball here. Keep pushing it in too far. There. Whoops. My glue isn't dry yet. And now look it. See, you can start to have a bouquet of flowers. So you can make lots of these and then have them in a vase and it'll look really pretty. And they can bring you lots of good cheer. So, our next activity is we're going to be outdoors and we are going to build a blanket tent and maybe even spend the night in it. And we can read some books in there and I think it'll be a lovely time. And this is something you can do indoors or out. I'm planning to do mine outdoors if it's not raining tomorrow, but I don't think it will be. So, tune in tomorrow at 3 and we'll build a blanket tent together. Thanks for watching.